dear students, starting with the next unit, unit number 4, interfaces and castings. In this unit, we will learn about 3 lessons. Lesson number 1, which is related to defining and implementing local interfaces. Lesson number 2, implementing polymorphism using interfaces. In the last unit, we have implemented polymorphism using the inheritance. But in this lesson number 2, you will learn about how we can implement polymorphism using interfaces. In the lesson number 3, we will discuss about the joining class models using interfaces. So starting with the lesson number 1, which is our defining and implementing local interfaces. Now the interfaces generally differs from the regular inheritance in their area of use. Actually, there is a minor difference in between the interface and the regular inheritance. Generally, interfaces are the superclasses that cannot be instantiated. That means their object we cannot create. So these superclasses do not contain any implementation part and can have only the public components. So this is the major difference between the interface as well as inheritance. But in case of inheritance, as you already know, in superclasses you can implement the methods and you can either put the component in the private section or public section. But in case of interfaces, the interfaces are special kind of superclasses, their object that we cannot create and do not contain any implementation part. Okay, now you can also simulate the multiple inheritance using the interfaces. So multiple inheritance generally is not possible in case of highly object oriented programming language like Java. We cannot implement the multiple inheritance, but we can do it by using the interfaces. The same case we can do in case of SAP ABAP. Now you can see in this figure we have the classes are there, airplane class is there, vehicle class is there, and these are the another classes, local carrier, local hotel, local rental. They are having the shared components but no superclass. So they are going to be shared their common components to the client. Suppose the carrier is providing the service 1, hotel is providing the service 2, similarly rental is also providing the service 3. So all of these classes are just only sharing the components, but they don't have any superclass. So client can use these services directly. Like rental is providing the services of rental company is providing the services to the client for booking the car, truck and so on. So this is a kind of a service. Similarly, hotel is also providing the services, like you can also book your hotel rooms and so on. So hotel is providing only the services. Similarly, the carrier can also provide the services. So these are some of the classes which have no superclasses, but they are providing the services. So in this case, we will say it these classes are the interfaces. Now come to the next topic. Client defines the protocol. One important thing, this is a protocol definition by the client. As compared to regular inheritance, the distribution of the roles in interfaces is sometimes different. The user generally defines the interface. Here the user defines the interface. In these interfaces, you can see these are the interfaces. The user describes both technically and semantically the services that the user wants to provide to offer. So each class now can decide for itself whether it serves the interface or not. So the carrier will decide, local carrier class will decide whether it wants to serve the interface or not. Similarly, hotel wants to implement or providing the service to the client or not. That depends upon the classes. So you can see that we have the airplane class, vehicle class. In this vehicle class has the superclass, rental, airplane has the class carrier, but the carriers are implementing the classes and these services are called interfaces. So client can define and use the particular services from these classes. Now come to the next topic, interfaces in UML notation. Generally, in case of UML diagram, we represent the interfaces by using the dotted line. By using the dotted lines, these are the dotted lines with a two side arrows. So you can see it has no arrow, so you can say it as a two side arrows. And generally, if you define the interface, the same thing. The class are represented with a rectangular box. So similarly, the interface are also represented using the rectangular box, but the interface is always enclosed within these braces, double less than and double greater than. So you can see that we have also implemented here the interface LIF_partner, and we have another interface LIF_license. So you can see that we have the carrier, hotel and rental which are going to implement the interface. So this interface cannot have any implementation part, so that we cannot create the object of this interface, but we can access the interface services using these classes carrier, hotel and rental. Come to the next topic, how we can define and implement an interface using ABAP editor. You can see we use generally the keyword interface here. So this is an interface LIF_partner, and we are just going to declare here the methods display_partner and then interface. So every interface will always end it with the end interface. And one more thing, the only public components we can define here. Now suppose this is a local rental class which is going to implement the interface, because the interface doesn't have any implementation part. The implementation part will be always in the class which is going to include the interface. So this class you may say it as a server classes. Now you can see in the previous figure, this carrier is going to implement this interface, hotel is going to implement, so rental is going to implement. So carrier, hotel and rental can have the implementation part of these interfaces. Now implementation of access of the interface. So this is our class local rental which is going to implement the interface class LCL rental, and then implementation part, this method, how we can define the method of the interface. The method interface was display_partner. So firstly we need to write out the name of the interface here. So you can see that this is method LIF_partner, and then we will use the tilde sign here, and this tilde sign is called interface resolution operator, and then method name of the interface. So this class is going to implement the method of the interface display_partner, and the method is always ended with the end method. Now come to the next topic, addressing interface component using object references. As I have already told you, the interface methods or components you cannot directly access using the object, because these are the super classes that cannot be instantiated. Instantiated means that means we cannot create the object of the interfaces, but you can access the interface component only by using an object reference whose class implement the interface. That means the object of the class which is going to implement the interface can access the component of the interface. So you can see that this is rental class, and this rental class are having its own attributes, name and vehicle list, and having the methods add_vehicle, display_attributes, which is going to implement life_partner. And this life_partner interface are having two methods, display_partner and check_availability. So these methods, display_partner and check_availability, you can call these methods by creating the object of the rental class. So you can see in this practical program, this is class LCL rental. In the implementation part, we are going to implement method which is of the interface method, and then syntax is, firstly we will define the method keyword, then LIF_partner which is the interface name, then we will use the interface resolution operator tilde sign, and then the method name of the interface. The first method was display underscore partner. So in this method we are going to call the another method display underscore attributes. Now how we can call these methods? Again, we are going to firstly make the object of the class which is going to implement the interface. So this is data go underscore rental, and then type refer to lcr underscore rental, and then we are going to make the object by this reference variable create object. The object name as well as the reference variable must be the same, go underscore rental, and then exporting. And then with this help of this object we can call the particular method of the interface. As you can see, go underscore rental is the object name, then component access operator, then life underscore partner, that is the interface name, and then tilde sign, and then display underscore partner. This was the method of the interface, display underscore partner of the interface, life underscore partner. So by this way you can address the interface component using the object references of the implementing class. So this was all about the lesson number 1 of the unit number 4.